For the past 3 years, the entire world has been staring at the same thing. Whose large language model scores higher on the benchmarks? But this summer, the rules of the game in the US AI world were quietly rewritten. A Forbes feature laid it bare. The AI economy has moved from model breakthroughs into the second half, the infrastructure showdown. What decides whether a company survives is no longer parameters, benchmark scores, or a razor-thin technical edge. IT comes down to 3 much harder things: compute power, supply chains, and regulation. The cards have changed, and the 3 men holding the new trump cards are the ones you need to watch. First, the trillion-dollar shovel seller. Nvidia may be the biggest landlord of the AI era. Let us start with the most profitable player. In May 2026, Nvidia's market cap briefly surged to $5.4 trillion, an all-time high. Throughout the AI gold rush, the shovel seller is the one sitting pretty on the dock. Whoever strikes gold still has to buy shovels from the same shop. When the valuation reaches the $5 trillion level, GPUs stop being just GPUs. They become the entry ticket to the entire AI industry. Whoever gets enough cards can train stronger models, serve more inference traffic, and grab more enterprise customers. But this entry ticket is getting more and more expensive. The big model upstarts that look so glamorous on the surface are, in reality, compute tenant farmers working for Jensen Huang. What is even more subtle is that Nvidia acts as both referee and player. IT has poured money into OpenAI and Anthropic, only for that money to flow right back as orders for its own chips. Invest, and then the cash comes home as purchase orders. A handoff from the left hand to the right hand, and the valuation jumps another notch. This cycle of investing in yourself to earn for yourself has fattened the entire supply chain, but it has also made people start to whisper, is this a real boom or a bubble? Now look at the other 2 protagonists, OpenAI and Anthropic. Their revenues and valuations are rocketing. Anthropic's annualized revenue run rate surged to around $47 billion in May. It had just completed a roughly $50 billion funding round, and its valuation touched $900 billion. OpenAI is reportedly raising funds at an $852 billion pre-money valuation, aiming for a $1 trillion IPO. The numbers are dazzling, but behind them sits a money-devouring compute black hole. The stronger the models, the more users, the more complex the AI agents, the more terrifying the burn rate. Sam Altman admitted that the AI budget has become a big problem, with some customers consuming tokens at a scale that even exceeds OpenAI's own heaviest internal users. Altman stated that OpenAI's largest internal user consumes about 100 billion tokens a month, while one external customer hits 603 billion tokens a month. And the cost problem of AI agents is even more severe. A few years ago, AI companies loved to say, we have achieved another capability breakthrough. Now the capital market is far more likely to ask, exactly how much are you spending on compute power every single month? And how much longer can you keep burning that cash? So both companies have independently set off on the same path, rushing to IPO, going to the public markets to get money to fill the hole. Anthropic got ahead. In early June 2026, it confidentially filed for an IPO with the SEC, one step ahead of OpenAI. Whoever goes public first, whose prospectus is laid bare under the sun first, gets the ammunition first. And that brings us to the next chapter. The IPO prospectus is a bottle of makeup remover. Once the document is public, it is no longer just a fundraising tool. It is an X-ray of the entire AI industry. Training costs, inference costs, cloud service contracts, chip dependency, gross margin pressure. It is all hidden inside. The unfathomable depreciation behind those 220,000 GPUs and how much revenue it actually swallows can no longer be covered up. To put it bluntly, this is a bottle of makeup remover. After the fig leaf is ripped off and the true picture goes under a microscope, the most pointed question becomes impossible to dodge. Are these astonishingly valued AI companies printing money, or are they pouring money into GPU server rooms? The most intriguing part is the relationship among these three men: Jensen Huang, Sam Altman, Dario Amodei. They should be partners sitting on the same industry chain, yet their strategic divergences are growing wider by the day. Point one wants to keep selling that $5 trillion shovel. Another wants to build walls with regulation and safety red lines. When it comes to hardware, large model companies actually do not have much leverage. In May this year, Anthropic's compute demand skyrocketed to 80 times the original plan, creating extreme compute shortages. They ended up grabbing the entire capacity of SpaceX's Colossus supercomputer, over 220,000 Nvidia GPUs, around 300 megawatts. Note: this is rented compute power, not purchased graphics cards. That number exposes a trend. Large model companies and the hardware and infrastructure giants are shifting from a buyer-seller relationship to destiny binding. The model companies cannot survive without compute, and the compute companies need model firms to push demand through the roof. As a result, the AI industry is no longer as lightweight as the software era. It increasingly resembles a super-industrial war. Chips, energy, data centers, supply chains, capital markets, regulatory policies, everything is swept into the same vortex. The deeper the entanglement, the more nobody can afford to lose. Cut off the hardware supply or tighten regulations, and even the strongest model is left waiting in line. How does the AI chess game play out from here? There is no need to keep staring at who has released a new model. The real barometers boil down to just three things. First, Nvidia's capital expenditure scale. The amount that tech giants spend on Nvidia chips is the only thermometer measuring whether AI is a genuine boom or a fake bubble. But if the spending is still soaring, the game is still on. Once that engine sputters, the story may have to be rewritten. Second, the details inside the prospectuses of Anthropic and OpenAI. You need to see clearly the actual depreciation behind those 220,000 GPUs and how much revenue it really eats up. Third, where the geopolitical regulatory hammer lands. Every time chip export restrictions tighten by one more notch, the entire supply chain map of the AI empire gets reshuffled. In the first half of the AI game, everyone competed on who is smarter. In the second half, it is about who has more money, more cards, and more electricity. When the model myth is illuminated by the account books, the most glaring truth finally surfaces. The tide is going out, the party is over. The searchlight sweeps across, and you can see at a glance who is swimming naked. On June 23rd, the A-share AI computing PCB sector plummeted. Concept stock Victory Giant Technology plunged over 7% in a single day. The panic was triggered by two market rumors. One rumor circulating claimed that Nvidia demanded PCB makers cut prices by 10%. The other said that Victory Giant Technology's capacity expansion had delayed shipments of the Rubin platform. According to a report by Shanghai Securities News, reporters sought verification from PCB manufacturers and market participants. Multiple interviewees indicated that the above rumors were significantly exaggerated and misinterpreted, and the claim that Victory Giant Technology caused delays for the Vera Rubin AI chip lacked any industrial logic support. A chairman of a listed PCB company told Shanghai Securities News that currently, pricing power in the supply chain actually lies more with upstream material suppliers. In the past, the industry mostly used a lock capacity quote model, with order cycles typically half a year or even a year. Now, with upstream materials continuing to rise in price, supply chain pricing is gradually shifting to real-time quotes, and order cycles have generally shortened to 1 to 3 months. Separately, according to media reports, Nvidia's investor relations department formally clarified before the market opened on June 23 local time. The claim of forced 10% PCB price cuts is completely untrue. There is no one-size-fits-all uniform price reduction policy, and annual framework orders are still executed at the original commercial prices. Regarding the Rubin delay, Nvidia had originally planned to officially mass-produce and ship the Rubin series in the second half of 2026. According to the AI server industry survey released by TrendForce in April this year, the shipment structure of Nvidia's 3 major high-end AI chip series will change in 2026. Affected by changes in the international situation and the time needed for supply chain adjustments, it is estimated that the shipment proportion of Hopper and Rubin series within Nvidia's overall high-end GPUs will decline, thereby boosting the Blackwell series share from 61% to 71%. In that same industry survey, TrendForce estimated that the Rubin series shipment share would drop from the originally planned 29% to 22%. The report cited several reasons for the Rubin series shipment delay. First, the certification process for the core component HBM4 took longer than expected. Second, the adaptation work required for the network upgrade from CX8 to CX9. Third, the challenge to the entire server rack power management scheme caused by the significant increase in single-chip power consumption. And fourth, the overall performance tuning of the higher-spec liquid cooling solution. The rumor that Victory Giant Technology's capacity expansion delayed the Rubin platform shipments clearly lacks industrial support. Previously, the overseas research firm SemiAnalysis released a report stating that 2 key technologies under Nvidia, CPO, or co-packaged optics, for AI data centers and 800-volt DC, could face path delays on the CPO mass production timeline. The market had previously predicted scaled annual shipments of 60,000 to over 100,000 CPO switches by 2027, but current production capacity is far from reaching that target. SemiAnalysis explicitly pointed out that the industry's expectations for a full CPO ramp-up in 2027 were overly optimistic, and large-scale commercial deployment will be postponed to 2028 to 2029. In response to the bearish views, Nvidia's Senior Vice President of Networking, Gilad Shainer, publicly stated that Nvidia's CPO switches will start mass production and customer delivery in the second half of 2026 as originally planned. He emphasized that the company differentiates between small volume commercial deployment and full network adoption. In the second half of 2026, they will first introduce the products to top-tier supercomputing customers, gradually expanding capacity in 2027, and CPO and traditional optical modules will coexist for a long time. The technology roadmap is not coming to a premature end. As a global leader in AI computing PCBs, Victory Giant Technology is one of Nvidia's core suppliers. The company's predecessor can be traced back to Shanghua Electronics, founded by Chun Tao in 2003. And Victory Giant Technology Huizhou Company Limited was formally established in July 2006. The Victory Giant Technology is engaged in the research, development, production, and sales of high-density PCBs. Its core products include advanced HDI boards and high multilayer PCBs, widely used in AI, data centers, smart vehicles, 5G infrastructure, and more. Riding the AI computing wave, the company has achieved explosive growth thanks to its high-end PCB technological barriers. Ordinary consumer electronics PCBs have only 4 to 6 layers, whereas high-end PCBs for AI servers can exceed 20 layers, requiring micron-level precision, with technical difficulty comparable to chip manufacturing. Currently, Victory Giant has deeply bound itself with global tech giants such as Nvidia, AMD, Microsoft, Google, and Tesla, serving as a Tier 1 core supplier for Nvidia's AI server PCBs. According to Frost & Sullivan data, based on AI and high-performance computing PCB revenue in the first half of 2025, Victory Giant Technology ranked first globally with a 13.8% market share. In the same period of 2024, its share was only 1.7%, ranking 7th. The company's important position in Nvidia's supply chain was evident at the Trillion Yuan banquet this January. At that time, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang hosted the annual supply chain dinner in Taipei, called the Trillion Yuan banquet because the total market value of participating companies exceeded 1 trillion new Taiwan dollars. In this top-tier gathering, which included executives from TSMC, Honhai, Quanta, and other Taiwanese tech giants. Victory Giant founder Chun Tao was the only mainland Chinese company chairman invited, and he attended for the second consecutive year. According to the financial report, for the full year 2025, Victory Giant Technology achieved operating revenue of 19.292 billion yuan, a year-on-year increase of 79.77%. Net profit attributable to the parent company was 4.312 billion yuan, surging 273.52% year-on-year. Gross margin reached 35.22%, up 12.5 percentage points, fully reflecting the high added value of high-end AI PCB products. In the first quarter of 2026, the company continued its high growth trend, recording operating revenue of 5.519 billion yuan, up 27.99% year-on-year. Net profit attributable to the parent was 1.288 billion yuan, up 39.95%. Net cash flow from operating activities was 2.117 billion yuan, a staggering 399.38% increase, with significantly improved collection quality. In May of this year, Victory Giant stated that it currently has a full order backlog. Business is progressing smoothly, and both order production and delivery are being carried out normally.